You wake up one morning, look in the mirror, and something feels off? Not your face. Not your body. Something deeper. You're doing okay by most measures: career, relationships, life. And yet there's this quiet, persistent question that won't leave you alone. Who am I now? We talk a lot about the midlife crisis, the sports car, the affair, the dramatic career pivot. But there's something quieter, more common, and way more unsettling that nobody names properly. It's not a crisis. It's an identity shift. And if you're in your 40s and you feel like the person you used to be just doesn't fit anymore, you're not falling apart. You're actually right on schedule. Here's what nobody tells you. Identity isn't fixed. We think of it like a passport, something you get, something that defines you, done. But identity is actually more like a playlist. You keep adding songs. Some songs from your 20s still slap. Others? You can't believe you ever had those on there. In your 20s and 30s, identity was largely built by external markers. Your job, your relationship status, your ambitions, your friend group. You were hustling toward something, about a destination, and that forward momentum gave you a sense of self. Then your 40s hit, and one of two things happens. Either you reach those goals and discover they don't feel the way you thought they would, or life pivots: divorce, a health scare, kids leaving home, a parent dying, and suddenly the scaffolding you built your identity around starts to shake. The psychological term for this is role exit. You've spent 20 years being the ambitious young professional, the new parent, the person climbing. And now some of those roles are complete or evolving, and nobody handed you the next script. What fills that space is often discomfort, and we misread that discomfort as something being wrong with us, when really, it's just the growing pains of becoming a more honest version of yourself. So what does this identity crisis actually look like in real life? Because it doesn't look like what movies show us. It looks like suddenly feeling bored or restless in a career you worked incredibly hard for, and feeling guilty about that because you're supposed to be grateful. It looks like friendships that used to feel effortless now feeling like a performance, like you're showing up as a character you've outgrown and nobody's noticed yet. It looks like hobbies or interests from your past resurfacing, things you abandoned in your 20s to be serious, and feeling a weird pull back toward them. It looks like asking dangerous questions. What do I actually want? Is this the life I chose, or the life I defaulted into? Who would I be if I started from scratch today? And it looks like grief, genuine grief, for the version of yourself you thought you'd be by now, for the paths not taken, for the younger self who had so much certainty and didn't know yet that certainty is a temporary state, not a personality trait. Here's what I want you to hear. All of this is normal. You're not broken. You're not depressed, though sometimes this can look like depression, and it's worth checking in with someone if it feels heavy. What you're experiencing is what developmental psychologists call individuation, the process of separating who you actually are from who you were told to be, or who you thought you needed to be. Carl Jung talked about this as the second half of life, the shift from building an ego to examining it, from doing to being. And it's uncomfortable precisely because our culture doesn't prepare us for it. We're told to keep achieving, keep optimizing, keep going. We're not told to stop and ask, going where exactly? Okay, so what do you do when you're in the middle of this? First, seriously, name it. Just calling it what it is, an identity transition, not a crisis, changes how you hold it. A crisis is something you survive. A transition is something you navigate. The words matter. Second, resist the urge to immediately fix it with a big move. the sports car, the affair, the impulsive resignation. These are all attempts to outrun the discomfort rather than sit with it. And the discomfort, I promise you, will follow you. Because it's not about your circumstances. It's about you. Third, get genuinely curious about who you are right now. Not who you were. Not who you're supposed to be. Right now. What lights you up when nobody's watching? What drains you even when it should make you happy? What kind of people do you want around you? A useful exercise here. Write down 3 things you value deeply at 22 and 3 things you value most today. The gap between those 2 lists? That's your growth. That's evidence that you are already in the process of becoming. You haven't stalled. You've changed. Fourth, give yourself permission to experiment. You don't have to blow up your life to explore a new version of yourself. Take a class. Learn something you have been curious about. Start the creative project. Have the honest conversation. Try on a new identity in small ways before you make any permanent moves. Think of it less like a renovation and more like redecorating. You can rearrange the furniture without knocking down walls. Fifth, talk to people who are slightly ahead of you. Not life coaches, not self-help books, though those have their place, but real people in your life who are 5 or 10 years further down the road and seem to be living with a kind of ease and groundedness. Ask them what shifted. Most of them will tell you the same thing. They stopped performing for an audience that wasn't even watching and started paying attention to what actually mattered to them. That conversation alone can be worth more than a year of scrolling for answers. And sixth, this is the big one. Stop waiting for certainty before you move forward. The version of you who had it all figured out? That was never real. Certainty was just confidence in a limited frame. The invitation of your 40s is to get comfortable holding more complexity, more nuance, more of the actual truth of who you are. The people who come out of this transition most alive are the ones who stopped trying to return to who they were and got genuinely interested in who they're becoming. If any of this landed for you, I want you to know you're not alone in this. The reason nobody talks about it is because it's scary to admit that the self you've been presenting to the world might need updating. It might feel like weakness. It's actually the most honest and courageous thing you can do. Drop a comment below and tell me, what's one thing that no longer feels like you that you've been holding on to anyway? I read every single comment, and I'd love to hear where you are in this. If this video helped you, share it with someone who's quietly going through the same thing. Because sometimes the most powerful thing you can do for someone is hand them the words they didn't have for what they're feeling. I'll see you in the next one.